NewsNation weekend anchor Anna Kooiman takes a look at what those changes are. Anna, my executive producer Scott and I watched that clip this morning. We said, who knew this would be a harbinger for what was to come so many years later?
Life imitating art or art imitating life, if you can call South Park art, right?
Exactly.
Good morning, Markie. Good morning to everybody at home. So eat real food. This is the biggest takeaway. Stay away from highly processed food products that often come in plastic wrappers. That's the biggest message for sure. But there are several changes that we're going to dive into. So take a look at this. The flipped pyramid is different than the one that you likely remember from the 1990s. So take a look here. The grains were previously the big part, and now the grains are the small part there. Now, although many Americans admit ignoring the country's food guidelines to begin with, the changes are going to be impacting likely school cafeterias, military bases, federally funded food assistance programs, and overall change the conversation, hopefully, about the way that we eat, eating more plants and animals that are from the earth rather than junk food from factories.
Americans eat highly processed, highly palatable bakery items. Lots of high fructose corn syrup type drinks and candies, all sorts of processed, quote, convenient foods. If we reduce that and swap that out for whole, healthy foods and prioritize protein, then perhaps the desire for these foods will decrease.
Yeah, so that's really a big headline. The new recommended range for protein is nearly double now, which we know can be good for staving off hunger and building muscle. Now, these new guidelines do focus on meats and dairy for that protein, and some experts are critical that plant-based and low-fat options did not take center stage here. Now, although HHS Secretary RFK Jr. has declared a war on saturated fats is now over, he did not actually change the previous recommendation, which is and was no more than 10% of our daily calories. So that actually hasn't changed. What was removed is the alcohol limit, swapping out the old guidance of no more than 1 drink for women and 2 drinks for men, and now simply saying consume less alcohol for better health. Now, Markie, one of the hardest guidelines I think is going to be to try to reduce that added sugar, because the guidelines are now saying no amount is considered part of a healthy diet. But if you go to the grocery store and you look at labels, these added sugars are everywhere, often in unsuspecting places too. Even wheat breads, cereals that are marketed as healthy, even savory pasta sauces and things like that. The other issue that the Agriculture Secretary pointed to that we really need to address is these food deserts and making sure that the produce, meats, and dairy are able to reach these people in parts of the country that really struggle.
Yeah, and how do we make this kind of diet and eating more affordable for everybody? And you and I were just talking yesterday in cafeterias, how do we bring this to school lunches as well? A lot of big questions that still remain. Anna, thank you. Remember, everybody, you can catch Anna Kooiman every weekend at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 o'clock noon Central.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.